Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of You Are Here. Subject for today is the subject of expectation. My last video that's actually getting ready to be posted, I talk a lot about belief systems and how our beliefs shape the world around us, how they shape what we experience, how we get out of life what we seem to believe in the most. Expectations runs parallel to that. You see, expectations are kind of the byproduct of experience. Oftentimes on a subconscious level, we expect a certain outcome to arise out of a situation that we find ourselves in. And that's usually due to past experiences, both good or bad. Now, sometimes expectation and the expectations you have can be really good. I talk about this a lot. If you're a positive person and you expect good things to happen, that's good. That's where you want to be at. You want to be, just like with everything else in life, you want to try and strive to be very mindful and maintain a positive state of mind. But when is it that expectations can be bad? Because our expectations run parallel with our beliefs. And as I mentioned in the last video, our beliefs determine our outcome to most things, to what we see and perceive and what happens to us in our environment. Except with expectations can become a very negative thing if you've had a lot of bad past experiences. For instance, you may be one of those people that is just like, I really want to do the thing, whatever that may be, but it never seems to work out. Or every time I do something, it just always falls apart. And that can be really dangerous, especially when we're not consciously aware of it. Now, why is that? Well, the reason for that is because the frequency of your thoughts, the vibration that you're putting out subconsciously, could be on autopilot to just yield really negative results in your life. You may just automatically expect something to just not work out or to be really terrible. And it usually ends up that way because you're kind of set on autopilot. The subconscious mind is kind of locked in that negative state of mind. Now, I'm going to do a future video on nothing but the subconscious mind, but I'm going to touch briefly on it in this video so I can make sure everyone has a good understanding of how the subconscious mind works. The subconscious mind operates on autopilot, okay? That's why it's called the subconscious. You don't have much control over it. It controls a lot of the body's natural processes, as well as a lot of our natural thoughts, our natural way of thinking. The subconscious mind is constantly observing everything in your environment, whether you're aware of it or not. It's constantly looking out. It's trying to keep you safe. The subconscious does a lot of really good things for us, but it can also do a lot of really bad things for us if we're not aware of it. You see, the subconscious mind, being a mechanism used to do things like protect us, will see you getting ready to approach a situation in your life, and based on similar experiences, it's going to calculate what's called an expected outcome. And oftentimes, if, as I was saying earlier, you've had a lot of negative experiences, then it's automatically going to assume that what you're getting ready to do is just going to end up the same way. It's going to be terrible. It's trying to protect you from experiencing something bad all over again, or going through something that you went through and it was just really traumatic or just really undesirable in some way. The subconscious mind, though, if we're not careful and if it's left unchecked, and we have had a lot of adversity in our life, can be one of our greatest enemies. It's because the subconscious mind can keep us from reaching and achieving our full potential by setting up all of these negative expectations. So how do we take control of that? Well, for one, we can't always assume that every situation is going to be the same, regardless if it's similar to something that we've experienced before in the past. We've got to be bold and be strong and be courageous to, when we get knocked off of that horse, get right back up on that saddle and go for it again, as long as it's safe to do so. I mean, some things in life, like there's just certain things you don't want to repeat, obviously, for obvious reasons, but for the most part, it bullies us and it pushes us around. Subconscious mind is also that thing that kind of tells us, it's our natural guide that leads us to believe that we can't do certain things or achieve certain goals because of the same past experiences. But I want to stop right there with the subconscious mind, because getting off the subject of what I wanted to talk about today, and that's expectations. So you may be saying to yourself, well, how do I change my expectations? Every time I do this, that, or the other, it always just turns to shit, and it always just blows up in my life, or it always just goes terrible. A lot of people have those sorts of thoughts when it comes to entering a new relationship, purchasing something, getting a job, or just doing something really important. Everyone always expects it to go wrong. And you can't allow yourself to do that, because, as I've talked about in earlier videos, like energies attract like energies. Similar wavelengths want to come together and appear in our lives, because it's what we draw into us. And if we allow ourselves to constantly be expecting the worst, what are we going to do? We're going to draw the worst experiences back into us. Every time something happens, you have to kind of reset yourself, especially if it was an unfavorable experience. If we allow ourselves to reset and to not be somehow mentally scarred by a situation we put ourselves in, which is sometimes easier said than done, we won't set up those negative expectations to pop up in our lives. Do the opposite. This is something that I try to do because I've had a lot of adversity in my life. I'm in the middle of some adversity right now in my personal life, and I've decided for myself that I'm not going to allow myself to fall into that cycle, to fall into that trap of negative expectations of, well, this just isn't going to work out, or it's all is hopeless. Because I know that if I do that, if I constantly expect the worst, I'm going to continue to stay in the situation that I'm in. The only way out is to constantly expect for the best. And if the best doesn't happen, it's okay. It's all right. For whatever reason, the thing that you're being faced with has happened in your life. I don't personally believe in coincidences. That's for you to decide, though. We got to expect great things. We've all seen this play out in our lives. Oftentimes, I'll give you an example. We'll go somewhere. We will be at a certain place that we know that a friend of ours hangs out at, or that a certain person that we haven't seen in a long time, we know that they're usually at this place, like the mall or a job or just somewhere, and we haven't seen them in a long time. And we get to thinking about it. We get on that wavelength. We're holding that individual in our minds. And we start thinking about them over and over. Before you know it, we start to expect to see them at that place. We're like, I really hope I see this person. Maybe I will. I mean, they're always there. I mean, when I talked to them, I knew them in the past, they were always there. Or I heard that they like to hang out there, so I expect that I'll see them. And then we end up seeing them. That's not an accident. We drew that situation into our lives, that circumstance. The universe has arranged and orchestrated events to take place in your life to bring that into fruition, because we expect it. We believe it. We just kind of somehow know it's going to happen on a deep level. The same can be true for favor. What I mean by favor is, say, you think of yourself as a really lucky person, and every time you go to the gas station and you get a scratch-off ticket, you win a little bit of money. Well, we expect that every time we go in and we buy a scratch-off ticket that we might lose, but more than likely we're going to expect to win. And we've all seen these sorts of things, and we don't put too much stock in it. We call it things like luck or chance, and unfortunately, reality, it just doesn't work that way. There's cause and effect. There has to be a reason for something else to happen. And when we learn to expect great things, and we learn to expect greatness out of ourselves and out of our lives, we start to hold ourselves at a higher standard. Therefore, we take actions to make certain things happen because we expect so much out of ourselves. And therefore, because of these actions that we've taken, and because we expect great things happen. It's a very fine, delicate driving force that surrounds all of us and works through us and for us. And that's the energy that resides in all things. That is our connection to all things, both seen and unseen. But not to go too far off subject again. As you all, I'm sure you've figured out by now, I am famous for squirrel mode. And two, I want to let everyone know that when I'm doing these videos, I'm doing them raw and uncut, so to speak. These are not scripted. These are my own personal thoughts and feelings on things that I want to share with the world in hopes that it can help even just one person. So, expectation. What do you expect? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question every time you're about to do something. Ask yourself that question when you wake up in the morning. What do you expect out of the day? What do we expect out of our day-to-day lives? What do we expect to happen? Good things or bad things? Do we always just wake up expecting to have a crappy day, or do we wake up expecting to have a new day or a good day? Every day that we're given to be alive in this world, surrounded by nature and people and possibilities, it's a gift. It's a very precious gift. Why not expect the most out of it? I don't think there's anyone I've ever met that wants bad things to happen to them. I don't think people truly want to accept bad things happening to them. So why do we have to do things that can draw more negative circumstance into our lives? And having negative expectations is just one of those things that serves as a catalyst to bring the things we want into our lives, both desired and undesirable. So be careful, be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful where your autopilot, your subconscious mind is. What are you expecting? What do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? I think that's a pretty easy question to answer. Expect greatness and you will have greatness. You will see great things. As long as no matter what happens, good or bad, don't waver, don't falter. Keep driving, keep grinding, keep holding on to hope and truth and that expectation of greatness. Be what you want to be. Laugh, love, be happy. What are your thoughts? If anyone has anything to add to this, I would love to see it in the comments below. I would love to get a discussion started on this subject. If you have something to add to the topic of expectation, I would love to hear what you have to say. Just remember, go out into the world. Expect great things. Expect great possibilities. Most people don't think of this, but going back to every day being a gift. When you wake up in the morning and you go out to start your day, regardless of what kind of regimen or life schedule you have, there is an unlimited number of potentials. And what I mean by potentials is potential happenings that can occur in your day. An unlimited and unfathomable number. Anything can happen to us at any given moment. Our time could be up and we could transition into our next life. We don't know. Do not waste your time expecting to be miserable, sad, broken, worn down. Wake up expecting to be happy regardless of how you may feel at that exact moment. Expect it. And before you know it, you'll start to feel that way. Because like attracts like. There's no other way around it. Sync up with the energy that you want to be in, regardless of the energy you've found yourself in. Our emotions are the road markers telling us when we're on the right path or not. If you're happy, you're feeling good, you're doing something right. Keep doing those things. Keep fostering, no matter what you're up against, keep fostering that positive mindset. Keep pushing forward and keep allowing yourself to grow. Take these negative situations that you may find yourself in and learn from them. Ask yourself, what can I take away from this? What can this teach me about where I'm at and what kind of decisions that I'm making? But don't allow it to break you. Don't allow it to consume you and take over your life. Just be here, be now. You are here. It's where I got the idea and the inspiration for the title of this channel. Be in this moment. What can you do in this very moment, regardless of the situation you're in, to change things? You could be on the streets, broke, hungry. You can grab a hold of this moment and you can be happy. It doesn't cost anything to challenge yourself to be in a positive mind state. And I promise you that if you do that, your life is going to change for the better and for the betterment of all humanity and everyone around you, because you can start doing things to give back to yourself and the rest of the world. If we're constantly broken down and just expecting life to just beat the hell out of us, that's what's going to happen. So I tell you now, expect greatness because you are greatness. You are the embodiment of everything that's to come and everything that's come before you. A series of circumstances and situations have brought you into this exact moment. An intricate process of chemical reactions and love frequencies and energy brought you into being at this exact place at this exact time. Watching this video right now at this very moment. There's a reason you're hearing these words, whether you realize it or not. That's all for today, my friends. Love you all. Hope everything in your life is going the way you want it to, and that you're just seeing everything come together just the way you want it to, and that you have love in your heart and peace in your mind and balance in your soul. Till next time, take care.